The topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Welcome to my radio and TV show, Debi Changes Lives. I'm Debi, your certified holistic health coach with a W. I revitalize people's lives by helping them identify the root causes of their health issues and create a custom, natural, holistic strategy to address them in the areas of mind, body, and soul. And as a health coach, I'm not allowed to say that I heal, treat, cure, prevent, or diagnose any diseases. I can certainly make your body more efficient by reducing symptoms. You'll feel better, be more productive, and enjoy life more. And I'm introducing a new program called Why Fast. It's an intermittent fasting program that makes your cells in your body hum and in turn boosts your metabolism. It is high in dense nutrition as well as nutrients. And it's a great way to jumpstart your health for 2024. Prepare now by contacting me at my link tree, which is https://www.debi changes lives lives.com/linktree linkttree. Select either the email or appointment button to find out more information about this wonderful program. And from that same link tree, you can actually select the appointment button and get my Black Friday special that's still going on. The Black Friday special is a Zyto link scan, and you get 5 scans for the price of 4. And what that is actually a transdermal object device that I send you a link to your phone, and you scan your face for 30 seconds, and it'll give you a holistic picture of your health in areas of energetic, functional, and emotional, as seen in body systems and lifestyles. You get a report of biomarkers that are out of line, and services and also products. I'll bring them back into line. I review it with you, and if you move forward with my services, I'll give you a little bit of discount. So move forward and get your own family pack, and that's what I call it, on that appointment link. And you can also split it up with your family. And from that same link, you can get a copy of my new book, Women Rising, which is the #1 Amazon bestseller. You can get a copy for $20 or $25. And it's a collection of 25 women's transformational stories, including mine. So you would select the email button on that link tree and ask me for a copy, and I'll send it out to you. And don't forget about my Beach Reveal Retreat. It is a new 6-month weight release journey with a couple months of maintenance and accountability that's tied into you writing your transformational story in a chapter of a book at a retreat center in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. You can see more about the details about this on this show at https://bit.ly/beach with a capital B, reveal with a capital R, and show with a capital S. And you're going to have so much fun in Puerto Vallarta as a great way to celebrate your weight loss and writing your transformational story. You can also contact me on my link tree to ask me questions, either with an email or an appointment, and I'll answer your questions. You need to be signed up by March 1st of 2024. Now, we're in the midst of cold and flu season, and I welcome an immunologist, AJ Lanigan. He's eminent figure in immunology and natural sciences, and boasts a 27-year of experience. And he is a graduate from South Carolina School of Pharmacy. He has his own company. He is a health innovator pioneer specializing in the use of beta-glucan. He's a scientist and an effective communicator where he makes complex concepts simple. And he works to influencing healthcare policies and promotes alternative therapies. Welcome to my show, AJ.
Great to be here. I'm alive, alert, and enthusiastic. Here we are. I'm on the East Coast. You're on the left coast, and coming through clear as a bell. It's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing when technology.
Yeah, and shout out to Rebel. Thanks for getting us hooked up, Rebel.
Thank you, Rebel. She's my engineer. So, AJ, you're the scientist, and I am not. Could you explain the significance of immunology in today's healthcare landscape and how understanding the immune system is crucial in developing effective treatments?
Well, what I'd like to do to get into that, because we can get into some pretty tall weeds, but I want to stay simple. Immunology is a relatively new science. When you compare it to things like biology and chemistry, it's been around for thousands of years. Immunology's literally been around for decades. Now, a number of reasons. It takes a combination of technology as well as the knowledge of what this new technology teaches us. If we go all the way back to, some 2,700 years ago, there was a historian who was writing about the Peloponnesian Wars. And this guy, really smart, he was observing as whatever this plague was, it got so bad that they actually had to call time out for a little while between the armies. And what he took note of is that people who got sick from this horrific plague, if they survived, they were actually able to go back down and take care of people newly afflicted and not get sick again. So this is some of the earliest written documentation about what we today call natural innate immunity. And so that's kind of where I want to start is, and I like when I'm talking to groups, I like to have people, stand up and they hold out their two arms and say, okay, we've got two basic arms of the immune system. The one arm is our innate immune system. That's the immune system that we were born with, and it works to protect us literally from when we draw our first breath. The other arm is our acquired, or as I sometimes call it, the learned immune system, where once we come into contact with something once, the immune system will actually contrive and put together a unique way of overcoming that particular challenge. So the innate immune system, it goes to work right away. It understands self versus non-self. And if it's non-self, it's bada bing, bada boom, you're out of there. It's not a very sophisticated part of our immune system. The other arm, the acquired or learned immune system, this is where we involve what are called B cells that make antibodies. Probably most of the people that are listening at one time or another have had vaccines, or they know a little bit about vaccines. That's the concept of a vaccine. We're going to show you a bug or bug parts or bug guts or something. And once the immune system gets a look, then they will again figure out one unique approach by using these unique antibodies. Now, if you've got a cold or a sore throat, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to produce antibodies against herpes. If you get herpes, you're not necessarily going to get antibody protection against COVID. et cetera, et cetera. Again, but it takes a little bit of time. It might take 2 or 3 weeks for this arm of the immune system to gear up. What keeps you alive in the meantime? That I'm still with you.
Okay. Last thing you said, alive in the meantime.
Yeah. Once you get in, something attacks you, it's the innate immune system that keeps you alive, keeps you healthy until the acquired or learned arm of the immune system develops that unique way. And what's important about that is if that bug comes around and sees you again, the immune system acts more rapidly because it's seen it before and it remembers it. So that's what acquired immunity is. Whereas innate immunity doesn't matter if it's seen it before. Okay. Again, it just says, are you self? And if the answer is not yes, then we're going to go to war.
Okay. So that's what TRIM is all about, huh? That's how
TRIM does, in fact, dwell on the innate side of the immune system. For decades and decades, it was believed that your innate immune system, which is a handful of cells, and I'll come back to these. You've got phagocytes, cells that gobble things up. Those of you that are my age may remember Pac-Man, and it chases and gobbles things up. Well, that's how phagocytes operate. They come across something that is non-self, it engulfs it, digests it, spits out the parts. So you've got neutrophils, you've got macrophages. There are a few others, but those are your two big ones. You've also got natural killer cells. Now, you don't have as many natural killer cells, but I kind of liken them to Green Berets or ninjas, where they're very stealthy, they're very deliberate, and they're very effective. Now, what they do is they actually examine cells in the body. And if you said, okay, smiley face, not a problem. Smiley face, not a problem. Not a smiley face, bam, they're going to blow that cell up. I don't know why it didn't have a smiley face. Maybe it was just a dead and dying cell. Maybe it was trying to hide some sort of virus. Doesn't matter. It's a simple-minded cell. It gets a smiley face, or it's going to eliminate that cell. And that's the basics. That's all we thought that the innate immune system did, without any memory.
Mm-hmm.
TRIM is an acronym for trained immunity. What we find is that if you come into contact with certain stimulators, or we call them BRMs, biological response modifiers, it will change the way that the innate immune system operates. And even though it's not per se specific immunity like the other arm of our immune system, but it does have a certain way of responding faster and more effectively than it did before. So some of our understanding and rules are changing. And that's the story of the immunology. Again, the more we get better technology, the more we are able to observe. We can make sense out of what we observe. We repeat. We repeat it a lot of times, and we say, okay, now we can count on this as a theory, no longer a hypothesis. So that's how real science works.
Oh, that's really cool. Now, you specialize in beta-glucan, and my audience may not be familiar with that. So why is beta-glucan so important in the field in immunology?
Well, again, we go back not that long ago. I hadn't been born yet, but not too long ago. Around 1940, there was a researcher by the name of Pillemer, And Pilmer and his team are sitting in the lab one day, and they got their petri dishes laid out, and they decided to take some yeast cell wall. Now, a lot of people don't bake their own bread anymore, but anybody that does, they're familiar with like Fleischmann's or Red Star yeast. Now, these are live. Yeast they're a fungal form, okay? So are mushrooms, so is smut, so is moles, mildews. All of these members of the mold. I was in college. There were only two arms. You had either a plant or you had an animal. And since I'm out now, they come up with this third branch, the fungal forms. Fungal forms have in their cell walls, okay, carbohydrates. See, we're all made up of various things, but in the organics, we're made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, which go to make up fats or lipids, proteins, or carbohydrates. Beta-glucan is a portion, it's one unique molecule within that carbohydrate complex of the cell wall of what you would call a baker's yeast. Now, I've got to know Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Try to say that 10 times real quick before you go to bed tonight. But we use a proprietary yeast. We split that yeast apart, and then we go through a process of removing all the fats, all the lipids, and all the proteins, leaving behind just that pure carbohydrate. And we get it pure enough so that almost all of it is beta-glucan. Maybe a little bit of chitin, maybe a little bit of glycogen, other forms of carbohydrates, but a really highly purified molecule. Now, why is that important? On the surface of these innate immune cells, again, I mentioned neutrophils, macrophages, natural killer cells. There are others. You've got a crossover cell known as dendritic cells, another handful. They have on their surface a receptor. Now, what kind of car do you drive, Debbie?
An Audi.
An Audi, okay. I drive a big old Tundra pickup truck. And if your Audi ever breaks down, we can put it in the back of my Tundra pickup truck. Yeah, okay? So they're both vehicles, okay? But your key switch is different than my key switch. My key will not crank your automobile, and your automobile key will not crank my truck. Why is that? Because the keys are different. So if you think of this receptor, it's actually, you think about it as a key switch on the surface of these important immune cells, and then the glucan molecule is the perfect key that cranks up that immune cell. Now, you guys know who Arnold Schwarzenegger is, right?
Definitely.
Okay. So once our molecule binds to that receptor, it turns the Woody Allen immune cells into Schwarzenegger cells. And we know from the movies it doesn't take a lot of Schwarzeneggers to get the job done. A lot of people think that this molecule somehow interacts with a virus or interacts with a cancer cell or no. This is all about your immune system causing that immune system to be the very best it can be, making it do what it's supposed to do more, better, and faster. So that's the importance of glucan in the world of immunology. So from 1940, as these guys were dropping a little bit of yeast cell wall in there and the white blood cells got busy, they didn't scream eureka. That's all in the movies. One of them said, "Hey, come over here, look at this. This is weird." That's how real scientists talk. Nobody screams eureka.
Well, that's amazing. They just saw the response the immune system was doing. So yeah, that's wild. Anyways, now with beta-glucan, how does it contribute to everyday health and wellness and supporting the immune system? And there's probably some findings that you found as well in your research. And I guess somebody's asking, how does the body make these things naturally? And I
Well,
don't know what he means by that. Not
well,
beta-glucan.
I've been around a little while, so yeah, I've gotten a lot of these. You can't imagine how many times I actually have to help somebody make a question. But I can read their minds a lot of times. So what the body does naturally is still a mystery, but yet here we are. I don't know if you saw the movie War of the Worlds. H.G. Wells, who wrote the book, actually, when I was in high school, we did a little short War of the Worlds, and actually, drew some, built some crazy looking stuff, and got an A on the project. You probably saw the one that had Mission Impossible guy. What's the little guy that runs around and jumps on buildings? And
Oh, no, I didn't see that one. I saw an old one.
Tom Cruise,
Yeah.
Need for Speed. So he's been in the most recent War of the Worlds, and those that haven't seen it, I would recommend the book, and then you would appreciate both the old movie, which actually was based on a radio show, and people that came in late to the radio show actually thought that aliens were coming and attacking and overcoming the world.
It scared everybody.
And indeed, in the movie, even the modern version, all the best technology that we had in the world was overcome like in a day or two by these alien invaders. Now, a day or two later, these alien invaders, as omnipotent as they were, omnipotent if you really know how to pronounce it, they started dying and keeling over. It wasn't because humans had overcome them, but because virus had invaded them. We have lived here on this planet for millions of years, and we have developed within our bodies an immune system that allows us to withstand virus, bacteria, mold, mildew, fungus, cancer, whatever. A little tough with a drive-by shooting, but barring that, we've done pretty well. And so the epilogue in this movie talks to this issue that we really don't have to worry about some foreign, extraterrestrial coming in and beating us, because they're not going to have our immunity. And so the things that thrive here on this planet, as I say, you got more virus and bacteria in, on, and around you than you've got body cells. So the question is, does the beta-glucan get made inside the body? No, but our immune response is there. The question is, because we do live here on this planet, because we're seeing radiation, we're seeing pollution, we're seeing food that continues to fail us. Stress is a tremendous burden on the immune system and its response. All of these things that pile in continue to beat down the immune system. Okay? What beta-glucan does is it goes in, activates that receptor, gets us cranked up so that our immune system comes back up. Now, let's say your immune system is here. As long as you're living and all the challenges that you see day to day are running along this level, no harm, no foul. But if your immune system is here, and here comes something at this level, that's when we get sick. Let's say something simple like just sustaining an injury, an insult. Somebody walks up, pops you in the eye. Okay, you're going to have inflammation. You're going to have swelling. May have a black eye. People don't understand that without a properly functioning immune system, you can't heal. You've got immune cells that come in and examine and say, okay, if there are cells that are damaged, they actually release enzymes, hyaluronidase, elastinase, to pull those cells out, get rid of them. That allows the new cell to grow in. And then you got another group of immune cells that whistle and say, okay, putty this thing back in. So now you've got a cell that is working within the proper structure. Aging, the sum total of all the injuries and insults we get here living on this planet. People that don't have good immune systems, they tend to age faster. Just as the person who has a compromised or weakened or incompetent immune system doesn't heal quickly or doesn't heal completely. These are things that you can kind of see in advance. God forbid cancer or COVID or some of these other things. If the immune system is not up to the task, well, we go downhill. In fact, as we go downhill, it's called immune senescence. So we need to bring in a beta-glucan, a biological response modifier that we know, number one, is safe. Number two is beneficial. And with the work that we've done, we know, and not just that we've done it, we hadn't kept it a secret, we've actually got tons of published medical journal articles now. For those that don't know what PubMed is, PUDMED, they can go in and type in glucan, GLUCAN, and they're going to get over 200,000 medical journals pop up. Now, not all of them have to do with this topic. Some of it might be with the manufacturer, testing, or whatever. But arguably 60, 70, 80,000 are on topic with how this molecule activates these key immune cells and helps us to be all we can be in regards to our defense.
Oh, okay, great. So that's what where your foundings are from PubMed or other things you found about beta-glucan?
Well, not only have we found it, my work primarily has been in universities and teaching hospitals with the researchers that are actually doing the work. I've come a long way from Pillimer. You had a group at Tulane University, Nicholas DeLuzio and his group actually isolated the actual molecule itself. So it's not about eating baker's yeast. It's not about eating mushroom. I like mushrooms over my steak. Baker's yeast, to make the bread rise. I'm not real fond of eating a lot of smut moles, but I guess in a pinch. But well, you wouldn't want to snort them, okay? But these things, we find fungal forms in our food. Okay, we can eat them, but you couldn't eat enough mushrooms. You couldn't physically eat enough mushrooms to get enough purified beta-glucan is what we get out of a little capsule. You'd have to literally eat pounds and pounds and pounds of it. Why? Because it's bound in with all these fats and proteins. And let's face it, there's a lot of people out there that have yeast protein allergies or sensitivities. Mm-hmm. That's why our ingredient is safe to use, even with people who have these kinds of allergies and sensitivities, because they're getting the purified material. So to answer the little question that popped up, it would be prudent, from my standpoint, to have your immune system, instead of floating around here, to move that bar up so that the challenges have to be much greater, okay, to cause you to have problems.
True. And there are products. Somebody asked that too. We'll get to that later. But, one thing that we're talking about is, Can you discuss some practical aspects of beta-glucan in everyday health and wellness and how someone can incorporate it into their lifestyle?
Well, I guess the simplest way that you incorporate it, and I might say also the least expensive, is to take a dose, take a capsule, sit it next to your nightstand, and then when you wake up the next morning, start your day with it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you've never taken it before, it takes about 72 hours for that first dose, whatever your dose is. It is dose based on body weight, but whatever dose you've chosen, it takes about 72 hours to get to a peak. And if you don't take any more, in about 2 weeks, you've drifted back down to what we call your baseline. So it's not like vitamin C that may be gone in 6 to 8 hours, or an aspirin that may be gone in, you know what I'm saying? It does stay in the system for a considerable period of time. Some people who say, well, I take so much stuff, I don't know if I can afford this too. Well, better to take it at the dose we recommend, but take it every other day.
Oh, that's cool.
You effectively are cutting your cost in half, okay? And again, we're looking at a 72-hour curve. Then you've got the ability to keep your immune response up. Okay, so not, I can't criticize people who don't take my product, but over the years, my rather peculiar sense of humor, somebody is telling me about, I got cold, I got, this, I've got that, or what, hemodibiosis, whatever they got. I say, man, I hope you're not taking my product. I'd be embarrassed. But I've got grandchildren. Okay, my grandchildren use my product. Little tiny kids, they're nasty. They're crawling around and all that, bacteria and whatever, and they put whatever they can reach in their mouths and so forth. Their immune systems are learning. The thing about it is, when they get a virus, a bacteria, or whatever, you want them to get over it quickly, a couple of 2-3 days. You don't want it to linger. and the doctor believed that, okay, you got a kid that was born with an antibiotic deficiency. We got to keep pumping antibiotics, antivirals, antifungals throughout their life. And then all of a sudden, 10, 20, 50 years down the road, oops, what do you mean I have cancer? Oops. So what happens literally starting at day 0, okay, is a harbinger of what's going to be happening downstream and how you respond to it or how you fail to respond to it. Nobody just wakes up on a Tuesday morning and says, I got cancer. Now, you could wake up on a Tuesday morning and say, oh, I got a little sore throat. I must not, shouldn't have kissed that girl so vigorously this week. Maybe I should have checked her health card before I took her out. So it's a situation where we're constantly going to be besieged by all kinds of things. Now, either we're going to stave it off, and when I say we, I'm talking about our immune system, because if you think about it, Debbie, your immune system is the only thing that stands between you and all those things that I talked about earlier that are in you, on you, and around you, trying to get you all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could build a fabulous building, the finest steel, the finest wood, glass, everything's beautiful. You go off and leave it unprotected. What happens? You're going to come back. It's been vandalized. It's in shambles. That's what happens to our body. If we don't have an immune system that is operating at what I would refer to 360 degrees protection, you're not going to have the best results. There was somebody did work, decades ago that I read, said if we were to flip off your immune system as we would flip off the lights, the flesh would start leaving your bones in about 72 hours. We don't want that. But, we'd like to live. We'd like to have a good quality of life. And your immune system has a large amount to do with that.
Yeah. And, like one person asked, cutting down the cost by taking it every other day. I really don't think it affects the effectiveness because you're kind of going bump, bump, bump.
Yeah. In other words, your immune system's here. You take the dose that we recommend, and don't cut the dose in half. Take the dose that's recommended based on your body weight. It'll take you up to a certain level. Takes about 72 hours. But if you don't take any more, it takes about another week and a half to go back. So it's not like boom. No.
Oh, good.
So you're looking at keeping the immune system, a little bit like soft waves in the ocean.
Yeah, like a waves in the ocean, little crest. So it's a great way to save money, which I think is important,
Well,
that's wonderful.
Every time I fill up my pickup truck.
True. With what emerging trends or potential breakthroughs do you see in immunology, particularly in relation to beta-glucan on the horizon?
Well, the more I learn about immunology and other things, the more I come to realize how little I actually know. And I think as people get to be my age, you will come to that same realization, or else I'd have to say you're not really that smart. Okay. So again, new opens the door for us to observe new things. What did we do before Leeuwenhoek invented the microscope? You see it? I mean, how are we going to see those little things?
Exactly.
We can now buy an electronic microscope about the size of a fat ink pen, plug it into our telephone, and blow something up, 100 times. You can spend a little bit more money and blow it up 400 times. So Leeuwenhoek just opened the door to that technology. You see it? So you can't see a molecule, okay? But we have technology today where we can reconstruct how that molecule works. We can say the hydrogens are here, the carbons are here, the oxygens are up here. Oh, wait a minute, here's a little nitrogen hooked over here to the side. And with that knowledge, then we can say, okay, how it interacts with other compounds and chemicals. Mm-hmm. So that's what's on the horizon. I like to imagine what is over the horizon. 20,000 leagues under the sea. The first mention of a submarine. It was a long time before the real Nautilus was invented. Okay. The thought of man being able to fly goes back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. But it wasn't until, the Wright brothers had a good gust of wind and they traveled a few yards. Mm-hmm. Now I can get on an airplane, go to sleep, and fly halfway around the world. Mm-hmm. And that's a big old fat heavy airplane. Yeah. But we the science develops. You have a hypothesis. You believe, you think how something's going to work. But then the duty of a true scientist is to get up the next day and try to crush a perfectly good hypothesis.
True. Very true.
And when a hypothesis cannot be destroyed, that's now how we know we have a theory. So getting back to our original topic of TRIM, decades passed, and the concept of the innate immune cells, again, your neutrophils, your macrophages, your natural killer cells, get smarter, was not imagined. In fact, some of the PhDs that I've worked with, we had, I won't say debates, but we had strong conversations because what they believed, what they had observed, now was being shown to be, wait a minute, now we were looking through a keyhole. Now somebody has opened the door, and we now have discovered a lot more information, and now another springboard. So the future, I want to tell you, there's a lot more ahead of us. And you can jot this down, put it up on the computer, come back in 100 years and look at it. That A.J. Lanigan said the future of medicine is going to include immunology and genetics. We're not going to worry so much about chemo, radiation, surgery, all these things. I'm a big Trekkie. Star Trek, Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica. They got all these gadgets, and all of a sudden, a crushed skull is healed. I'm ready for that. I'm ready for that now.
So am I.
I believe that one day we will be able to overcome a lot of the challenges and afflictions that are causing people so much misery, and cut down on people's productiveness, allowing all of us to be more productive. I mean, what purpose do we have here on this planet except to gain knowledge, be productive, and then pass that on to our children and grandchildren?
Exactly. And that's exactly what we need to do in life, right?
That's I mean, there are people that,
Oh, AJ, you froze.
but all those things to do doesn't amount to hill of beans if you're at room temperature.
True. Well, AJ, I want to thank you for coming on my show. You are so knowledgeable, and I hope you'll be on it again. So
hang around with smart people.
Okay. So if you want to ask AJ a question, you're welcome to contact me to do a 3-way call. And also, if you're interested in any beta-glucan products, I do have some that I can offer, but you need to contact me at my link tree at https://www.debi changes changes lives lives.com/linktree, and it's all in lowercase. And be prepared and get a jump start in your health with that YFS in a Minute program with high dense nutrition and nutrients. Ask me questions, and I would set an appointment, but you can also email me if you have questions about that. And then I also have my book that you can get from this link tree by emailing me, selecting the email button. It's a #1 bestseller book of 25 women's transformational stories, including myself. It's a great gift for someone that's struggling. And copies are $20, or you can get signed copy for $25. Just email me and I'll send it to you. And of course, at the same link tree, you can set up an appointment with me where you have a complimentary consultation for health and mindset. And on that same appointment are my services, which are 2 different Zyto type services. One is a skin galvanic skin response, which is a local cradle that you have to see me in person, or you can do the Zyto link, which is what my Black Friday special is about. You get 5 scans for the price of 4, saving $50. And I send you a link, and this transdermal optical imaging app, you would just scan yourself with your own phone, and it gives you a holistic picture that's energetic, functional, as well as emotional, and different body systems and lifestyles. I review it with you. It will tell you Biomarkers are add online and also give you services and products that are in line. If you continue with my services, you'll get a little bit of a discount. It's a great gift for everybody. And contact me about my Beach Reveal retreat, which starts on March 1st of 2024. It is my weight release journey with a 6-month weight release program and accountability group that follows, where you write your own transformational story in a chapter of a book in a retreat in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. And that retreat center is where you would write your transformational story. And it's a fun way to celebrate your transformation. This whole package includes my coaching services. It also includes the cost for the retreat center and the and all the activities that you're in, plus guidance on how to write the book, publishing cost, and marketing. You can see the episode at https://bit.ly, bit.ly/beach with a capital B, R with a capital for reveal, and S for a capital for show, all spelled out. And you can also email me or ask me a question or set an appointment at my link tree that I mentioned before. You need to sign up before March 1st of 2024 because that's when the weight release program begins. And as you see, the retreat is November 6th through the 13th of 2024. Finally, you can subscribe to my newsletters to find out about my new promos and events, as well as upcoming shows. And you do that at https://bit.ly, bit.ly/radio TV show, all in lowercase. And I give you a gift of a 30-day health and mindset journal where you can track your thoughts, emotions, your feelings, as well as your foods and water that you take and exercise. It's a great way to review how things are working on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. It's a great health awareness tool. I'm sure you found this show educational and informative, and you enjoyed it. And continue enjoying my radio and TV show, Debi Changes Lives, on Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, where your holistic journey begins.